like to call the meeting of the Macomb City Council to order. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mike Wayland.
Here.
John Vajezi.
Here.
Don Wynn.
Here.
Tom Cook. Ashley Katz.
Here.
Tammy Lee Brown Edwards.
Here.
Dennis Moon.
Here.
6 present.
I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to accept consent agenda.
Second.
Motion a second. Roll call.
Wayland.
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Katz.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brown Edwards.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
All ayes.
Public comment. Citizens wishing to address the city council on matters germane to the agenda of the meeting will be limited to 3 minutes and are asked to be brief and concise in making their remarks. Comments submitted by mail or email will not be read aloud, but a copy will be provided to each member of the council and made part of the minutes. Do we have anyone public comment? Okay, guess I better put my glasses. Now they're fogging up. Police quarterly report. Chief?
Good evening.
Good evening.
If I could direct you to page 2, which would be the page immediately following the cover sheet. Under personnel, highlight staffing and awards for our first quarter, which consists of May through June of 2021. We have assignments that have changed within our patrol division. We have 2 acting sergeants, acting sergeant for our day platoon, our 2 night platoons. And so under the 12-hour shift structure, it is listed as an N1 and an N2. And so that consists of Acting Sergeant Gock and Acting Sergeant Shadell. They're actually the supervisors for those platoons. We also have a new hire to report in this quarter, who is Officer Cody Parker, who recently finished his training at the Police Training Institute down in Champaign-Urbana, University of Illinois. He is currently, I believe, in his 3rd week of field training. He's doing a phenomenal job. FTOs have reported nothing but high marks as far as what's been relayed to me, and so we're very excited to have him on board. Some of the special events, I will bring that to your attention pretty shortly, but I want to slide over to training highlights from this quarter. What I did in this particular area, and it's the same page, if I could direct your attention to the column to your left, your immediate left. The training highlights include a merge of what we have been training in during the year of 2021. And so that consists of procedural justice, canine training, mental health and crisis intervention. The House bill, which is the police reform bill, I've kept that in place because that falls up under the umbrella of some of the things that we've implemented within our department recently, the body-worn cameras, use of force taser training, officer stress management. I want to add up under this one, that under officer stress management is that we have a very robust chaplain program and peer-to-peer employee assistance program. And so we have also inducted some new chaplains to better assist in the event that we have any major incidents and we need anyone from one of the local churches to come in and actually help debrief the officers. Police and citizens relations, this is an ongoing thing. It's very important under my leadership, under the community-oriented policing model, and also harassment in the workplace. And so just to highlight a few, we've done plenty more, and we're continuing to implement and conduct many more trainings through the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board. Our staffing level, the only thing you will not see on here is the deputy chief's position, which is, that was on the previous quarter report that it has been since removed. And then we have our lieutenants that are broken up between the investigations lieutenants and also the patrol lieutenants. And so you will see a 1 of 1 and a 2 of 3 for those particular supervisory levels. The sergeant positions, those do actually include the acting sergeants that I mentioned to you not too long ago. Our school resource officer is doing a phenomenal job as well, and she is also assigned back to the school full-time this school year. We had a brief modification in her schedule, which has gone back to the normal school week, 8-hour, 5 days a week schedule for the school resource position. Our community service officers remain in place, and then we've also had an officer that has since transitioned to another police department closer to home where they were born and raised, to be closer to family, and also a spouse who has similar employment at another department up north. I want to direct your attention to page 3, the agency quarterly activity, and then I'll take you back to some of the initiatives and events that we've been involved with. February through April of 2021, what I did differently for this particular quarterly report is I did not want to necessarily direct your attention to the pandemic numbers because it is a drastic decrease with regards to a lot of our residents and individuals that live within our community that were being pretty much locked indoors as a result of the mandates at the time. And so we did a comparison to the 2019 data. And our calls for service for this particular quarter, they're up. It's a 17% increase. And then I also want to direct your attention up under that same column to arrests under state charges. Our state charges are slightly up, not too different from 2019. And then our non-traffic related arrests as well are up. And so overall, we have that 17% increase in arrests, calls for service. And then I want to take you down to other reported activity where it breaks down some of the particular incidents that we have dealt with quite a bit. Our theft under 500, which are the misdemeanor thefts, those have gone up. And also our burglaries have gone up. And I don't know if you remember, but I actually brought that to your attention when we reported the last quarterly activity that it would be some changes with regards to burglaries. And that does consist of vehicle burglaries and burglaries to residences as well. And then our traffic accidents are up slightly as well. And so I say this to say that it is important that we have the resources that we need with regards to the police department as far as our patrol officers and our detectives, because with these calls for service going up, we need to make sure that we have our officers available to be plugged into these particular areas. And so in the event that we get a burglary, that's where we're probably calling out 2 detectives, depending on the extent of an incident. We may be calling out 3 detectives or a detective and 2 patrol investigators. And so the staffing is really important. And so that goes back to the recent hiring that we've been working toward in the recruitment and retention model, because it helps deploy officers to address these needs within our community on more of a regular, consistent basis. And so taser deployments, not a huge difference as far as deployments, but there was within this quarter 4 laser deployments and then 1 dart that was actually deployed on a call for service. Notable cases and issues, items to discuss. If I could take you back down, I discussed about burglaries. We had a burglary investigation involving a stolen firearm. And so an MPD officer was conducting foot patrol and located suspects hiding behind a residence here in town. Officers and detectives later determined that the subjects from the incident were involved in a recent vehicle burglary that involved some stolen handguns. And that was somewhat of a trend when we had some of the initial burglary reports, that when vehicles were being burglarized, we had a number of residents leaving handguns inside of their vehicles. And the particular individuals that were targeting vehicles were stealing handguns. We had an aggravated arson during this quarter where a juvenile minor was arrested after setting house on fire. Would have been the front porch area. We had an aggravated discharge of a firearm, actually 2 unrelated shooting incidents. One was a juvenile incident and one was an adult incident within an hour apart. same night. And so both of the suspects in those incidents were taken into custody by MPD officers and detectives. During the Heritage Days weekend, this was previously reported, but we had an adult sex offender arrest, someone that was frequenting the park during the festivities. A concerned citizen had brought that to the attention of one of the officers, and one of the detectives, in fact, located the suspect and took him into custody while he was in close proximity to several children during the Heritage Days Festival. For the fun stuff, I want to direct your attention to some of the things that our department has been involved in between May and July. Pretty awesome stuff. We had a number of our officers that came off of night shift when we were still under the 8-hour shift structure. They came off a third shift, and they were actually able to participate in Flags of Love during the Memorial Day weekend, so they helped post the flags on Chandler Park. A number of us also participated in the annual torch run, the area law enforcement agency. So it consisted of state police, Office of Public Safety. I believe a member of the sheriff's office or two was there. And also, again, the rest of us were Macomb police officers and a few civilians that actually attended and ran. And so we did 2 miles through town and raised money for Special Olympics. And so this is something that we try to do every year, very successful and pretty enjoyable. And my legs always feel like Jell-O after we're done. I gave you a few more pictures of the Flags of Love, but another thing that has been really popular lately has been the Canine Demonstrations. A lot of the community has been asking about and inquiring about canine demos. And so Officer Sievers and his partner, Mac, they've been showing up all over the community doing canine demos. The particular pictures that you see in the quarterly report are from the housing gathering that was conducted. It was a gathering that actually involved a number of resources that the McDonough County Housing Authority helped bring together. And it was done over in the Prairie View homes on the east side of town, in addition to the Eisenhower Towers. And so we had officers that were out on bicycle patrol, and also, again, K9 Sievers and his partner Mac did a very good job, very wonderful response, and took several pictures with community members. A lot of the families were very comfortable with even standing next to the dog and taking those photos, and so we were very excited to see that. A couple of historical milestones in my professional opinion, and being a WIU alum, we had the Gwendolyn Brooks Park dedication on the WIU campus, very successful. A lot of alumni from WIU attended, and local working professionals here within our community. I was also present at that, had the liberty and privilege of being a part of that gathering, and even Gwendolyn Brooks' family relatives came out to help celebrate and commemorate her on that day. And so phenomenal park dedication. The Reverend C.T. Vivian birthday celebration, another success and historical milestone within our community. It drew a lot of community members, stakeholders, and visitors of our city. And so that took place over at the 700 East Adams Street, where his childhood home was once located. And if I can take you to the back of the page, last thing that I have, which is probably the biggest thing that I would say, in addition to the C.T. Vivian and Gwendolyn Brooks Park dedication, is the Juneteenth celebration. And so being able to celebrate Juneteenth this year, the Mount Calvary Church of God in Christ and several members of the community and organizations participated over at 1500 East Pierce. Quite a few of us came out, supported, had a few words to share, and it just reminded us of the importance of remembering such an important celebration that turned into a national holiday. And so we're very excited about this. This is something that we definitely will continue to support in the future. I remember as a student supporting this, but now we actually have a federal holiday. And so this is something that our community can definitely take part in, regardless of your cultural makeup and your age. So this is what I have. I'm open to any questions.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Chief. Oh, Tammy, sorry.
Thank you, Chief, for your report. Would we see in future reports a CSO report? I'm very interested in seeing what is happening in that office and what type of outreach is happening in the community, as well as outside of the community.
Sure. And so a lot of what the community service officer does, and we have two, and so their job descriptions are not exactly the same. They actually have various duties that they both tend to, and so I'll use CSO Jorian Tucker, for example. A lot of what he does behind the scenes, he is involved with recruitment and retention, and particularly what he does is helps us with putting out the word for testing dates. For example, we're going to have police tests coming up this October, and so he's been helping with digital signage. He's been helping with some language pertaining to the updating and revisions of the actual applications for lateral hires and traditional hires. And so another thing that you will see coming from his office is that we're going to start tracking numbers for mental health awareness calls for service, because law enforcement organizations nationwide are dealing with mental health concerns. And again, it falls up under that mentioning earlier of mental health training and crisis intervention for the officers that do have that training. And so we're going to track that number so that we can have that on future reports, because we need to know, our community needs to know exactly what we're seeing from the police department through our lens and how many of these calls for service we're actually responding to.
I agree. Thank you for including that in future reports. When we approved that position, it was an interest of ours to be able to have a person to connect citizens to resources. And so I am very interested in finding out if that is happening and what type of resources are being referred to those people that you've had contact with.
Sure, I'll be glad to share it. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Move on to unfinished business. Consideration of an ordinance pertaining to the coronavirus local physical recovery fund for the city of Macomb. Second reading.
Thank you. The city is eligible for funds through the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund that it's administered through the United States Department of Treasury. That fund was created as a part of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The city is required to utilize any financial support received from Treasury for specific purposes and in compliance with the terms and conditions required by ARPA and Treasury regulations. Treasury requires the city to maintain conflict of interest policies consistent with the Code of Federal Regulations, also requires execution of the terms and conditions, and to provide the assurances of compliance with civil rights requirements in order to participate in and receive the funding pursuant to ARPA, which is anticipated not to exceed $2.4 million for the city. The ordinance, if approved, would authorize the acceptance of Exhibits A and B, which are the terms and conditions and assurances of compliance, would also adopt the conflict of interest provisions that are contained in the ordinance, and would authorize the mayor to execute and deliver, and the clerk to attest the execution of the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund Award terms and conditions and assurances of compliance.
That'll stand as second reading. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to authorize the ordinance pertaining to the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund for the city of Macomb, Illinois.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I have a question. Is this money for city improvements, or is this stimulus money? Can it be used as stimulus money for businesses?
Yes. Both.
Both.
Yes.
So I wasn't unaware of that. I guess I should ask the attorney, should I recuse myself?
I don't think that at this point the city has determined how those funds are going to be used.
I
At this point,
understand
we're
that,
just,
but I mean, if we do,
we're authorizing the submission, saying we would like to have our share.
okay. Just didn't want to get in trouble. Any other questions, comments? Roll call?
Vajezzi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Brown Edwards.
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. Consideration of an ordinance to amend section 24-6 of the Municipal Code of the City of Macomb. This again is second reading.
Thank you. The ordinance provides that the city has the power to pass all necessary ordinances, rules, and regulations. The city has previously adopted an amendment to Section 24-6 of the Municipal Code, and this ordinance would update the fees contained in that section. The fee provision would be updated as set forth in Exhibit A, specifically modifying the fee for building permits from 0.6% of the project cost exceeding $1,000 to 0.55% of the project cost exceeding $1,000 with a minimum fee of $22.
Thank you. Again, questions, comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Make the motion to consideration for the ordinance to amend Section 224.6 of the Municipal Code for the city.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Brown Edwards.
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezzi.
Aye.
All ayes.
Consideration to award the engineering design contract for the new water treatment facility to Mauer Stutz and the IMEG team. Sorry about that. Final action will be in order. Alice? I'd have some guests you want to.
Bring this down to regular people height now. So a few weeks ago, probably it's been close to a month now, came before council telling you that we would be presenting a contract from the Mauer Stutz IMEG team for the design of the water treatment facility. In that time period since then, Mauer Stutz prepared a contract for us to review, and myself, City Attorney Scalf, and City Administrator Coker have all reviewed and made comments on the contract, resubmitted that to Mauer Stutz, and after a couple of back and forths, we have come to agreement on a contract that covers we feel all the bases. The total amount of the contract is $1,261,000, which is a little less than what I'd estimated at $1.3 million. So tonight, we're asking for approval of this contract so that we can get started on the much-needed design for the water treatment facility. And I have Keith Plavick and Megan Crook from the team if you have any questions for the engineers involved.
Any questions, comments? Alderman Vajezzi?
Could you just remind us where the $1.26 million is coming from? As far as, sorry.
Well, that's part of what the water rate increase
increase,
is going to be
okay.
covering, yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Anything else? I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to award the engineering design contract for the new water treatment facility to Myers Stutz / IMEG team.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Katz. Aye. Brown Edwards.
Abstain.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezzi.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. Would the representatives like to, I think you wanted to make a statement?
Yeah, thank you. So just to everybody, I know you've seen both of our faces for a long time. With us on the water plant side for a long time. We both, on behalf of Megan and I and our firms, we're very appreciative of the opportunity to work with the city. I know there's been some changes here, but we're looking forward to continuing on the past, I guess I'll call it traditions for the city, and looking for some new mentoring, some leadership with the upcoming staff. An exciting project for the community, a long project for the community. It's been a long process to start with. And as you all know, it doesn't occur overnight. So a lot still to do, but we are very appreciative of the opportunity and looking forward to reporting back to this group and working with all of you and providing a project for the city that is here for a long time, something that we can all be proud of.
Yeah,
Yeah, just, pretty well covered it, but just wanted to come tonight and thank everyone in person, and we're looking forward to getting started. So thanks again.
Thank you. We're looking forward to working with you. We've always had success in the past. So. Consideration to award the bid for the South Dudley Street water main replacement to Vance Excavating in the amount of $296,491. Alice?
Yes, on August 18th, we opened bids here at City Hall. There were 3 bidders, as you see in the letter from IMEG. Vance Excavation, who is new to our bidding process, was the low bid at $296,491. We went through the contract. They've submitted everything that they need to submit. They have met or exceeded the minority business, disadvantaged businesswomen, business enterprise goals that were set by the state. The goal was 15%, and I believe they're at 20-some-odd percent. Is that right, Megan? 30%. So they found a minority business enterprise that is a supplier, so they'll be getting all their materials from a minority business enterprise. So we recommend awarding the contract to Vance Excavation out of Carthage.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to,
Make a motion to award the bid for the South Dudley Street water main replacement to Vance Excavation, amount of $296,491.
second. We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Vance Excavating of Carthage. Tammy?
Yes, Director Orman, can you please tell me if these bids were under what you originally believed?
The low bid was certainly well under, and the other 2 bids were slightly higher.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Roll call vote.
Brent Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz,
Aye.
all ayes.
Consideration to accept the bid from First Bankers Trust Company for the wastewater treatment plant capital equipment financing at 1.98%. I guess this is
I'm up
yours
again.
too.
So bids were received and opened at City Hall on August 31st of this year. We had 4 bids, as shown on the bid tabulation in the memo that you received. First Bankers Trust Company was the low bid at 1.98%. They also provided us a loan when we purchased our jetter truck. So we've got a good relationship there with them. The way we'll be doing this is we've already purchased the camera truck for the wastewater system. And so we will be taking a withdrawal of the $348,000 and change for that truck. And then once we are able to get a Ford 550 chassis for the boom truck, then we will put that one out to bid as well, that piece of equipment out to bid, and then we will finish the drawdown on that loan at that time. And in speaking to Jason Duncan at First Bankers Trust, we have at least a year that these rates will be good for.
Any questions, comments? Final action will be in order.
Make a motion to accept the bid from First Bankers Trust Company for the wastewater treatment plant capital improvement, or capital equipment financing at 1.98% from First Bankers Trust Company.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve First Bankers Trust bid of 1.98%. Any questions, comments? Roll call.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
all ayes.
Thank you. New business. Consideration to approve the employment agreement with Dan Meyer as fire chief. The copy of the agreement is attached, and final action will be in order. Mr. Coker, is that yours?
I can
Since I
speak towards.
wasn't at the
Yeah,
agenda meeting
that's
this
fine.
morning.
So as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, the agreement is in your packet. It's very similar to previous agreements that we've had. Police chief, public works directors follows the same format. I guess I'd entertain any questions, since Dan's already in the position as the acting fire chief, so.
Did we lowball it, or?
Yeah. Probably shouldn't.
Make a motion to approve the employment agreement with Daniel Meyer as the fire chief.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Daniel Meyer, fire chief. Any more questions, comments? Roll call.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezzi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
all ayes.
Consideration to authorize a reclassification of the grounds maintenance supervisor position at Oakwood Cemetery to a grade 21. This will, final action will be in order tonight. So Alice, you have.
There we go. As we discussed previously, during the search for a new cemetery sexton, it became apparent that there were a lot of duties that the cemetery sexton grounds manager takes care of that wasn't properly reflected in the pay grade level that he was receiving. And so in doing a search of salaries around Illinois for similar positions, as I showed in the memo, full-on manager administrator would be $80,000 on average, and a sexton, which is typically more just a landscaper, digging graves and things, is at 43 roughly. So, or 31, I'm sorry. And so this job is actually kind of melding of the two. And so in review of the great salary grades that we have for other employees and kind of how that fit in with the averages around the state, we believe that a grade 21 would actually be a more appropriate grade classification for this position. And so we're asking to raise it from a 19 to a 21.
Any questions, comments? I will say, I think your research into the duties of what we are asking them to do and what the comparables are around the state justify this great increase.
Thank you.
Roll call.
I need a motion in a
Oh,
second
I'm
first.
sorry.
Minor detail.
I know. I've been around long enough to know that. I'll make a motion to approve the increase to a grade 29,
21.
21.
Not 20.
I can't wear my glasses, they fog up.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Vajezzi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
all ayes.
Thank you. Consideration to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Macomb and the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council number 189 to amend the union equipment inventory supply. Chief Jones?
Thank you. So you have copies of the current inventory list. Everything on that list is what we are currently supplying to new hires. So whether that be a non-traditional hire or a traditional hire, everything on this list, from the vests to the belt keepers, the holsters, cuff cases, et cetera, this is the updated list. The previous list was a bit outdated. It had some things on there that we no longer use within the police department as far as uniforms and equipment. And so those things have since been removed and replaced with the items that are currently being used that are needed and more innovative. And so on paper, it shows that the new list is a $96 increase compared to the old list. However, if you remove the vests that are listed at the top, the body armor, we actually get grants for the body armor. And so that $510 would not necessarily apply in this particular instance. And a couple of other things as well that we've been doing within the police department to remain fiscally conservative. We have some gently used equipment, such as handcuff cases, flashlight cases, a few other items that we have been able to reissue. And so those are areas where we can remain fiscally conservative and save money. And so I'm asking that you consider the adoption of the new equipment list.
Is there also an inflationary factor in there?
On paper, yes.
Discussion? Tammy?
Thank you, Chief, for having this itemized list. I'm not sure if this question is for the chief or for the city attorney, but my question is, would it be more helpful to us to not have specific branding on this? On some of these items, I know some of them, some things change over time that, something's out of stock or we're no longer utilizing that specific brand. Would it be more beneficial for us to be more generic than specific on this agreement?
I would say from a contractual perspective, yes. For the very reason that you said, different materials, those types of things. I think what the chief wanted to do was to make sure that what they were currently using was itemized. That's certainly something that we could implement as we go into negotiations in the spring. If we find that those items are in and out of stock, we can certainly adjust the terminology in the contract going forward.
Thank you.
I don't want to speak for the chief, but isn't there a desire to have everyone look the same?
Yes, the ultimate goal is uniformity.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Final actions in order?
Motion to approve the MOU between the City of Macomb and the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council number 189 to amend the uniform equipment inventory supply.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police. Discussion, comments? Roll call.
Wynn,
Aye.
Katz,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. Consideration to approve the Residential Initiative and Stabilization Effort, RISE, application for Michael S. Parker for 515 and 521 North Albert Street in the amount of $15,000 for the demolition and construction of a sixplex plus an attic apartment. So this is, final action will be in order for this also. So, John?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Alderman Moon. The application is for 3 partial reimbursements, 1 demolition, and 2 redevelopments. The estimated cost of demolition on 515 North Albert is $15,000. It's an additional $30,000 in estimated greening costs. That would be an estimated or $5,000 in reimbursement requests. And then there's a proposed redevelopment of a sixplex plus attic apartment on the properties. This would be $212,000 per property, and so it would be a $5,000 reimbursement per property. Staff is requesting that council approve the RISE application for all three of these, and the Community Development Committee did vote 2-0 to recommend that City Council authorize all three. The applicant's here today, and we can elaborate on the application, or are happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments from the council? Final action being in order, I'd entertain a motion to approve, or a motion, sorry. Any ideas in your head?
Make a motion to approve the residential incentive and stabilization efforts, also known as RISE application, from Michael S. Parker for 515 and 521 North Albert Street, amount of $15,000 for demolition and construction of a sixplex plus an attic apartment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the residential initiative and stabilization effort. Any comments, questions? Roll call vote.
Katz,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Abstain.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
all ayes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Do we have any committee reports tonight? Seeing none. Aldermatic reports. No report. Alderman Katz. Oh, Jesus, excuse me. Alderman Tammy Lee Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are new dates for COVID testing and vaccine administration that have been posted in the community. I suggest that citizens be aware of those dates and of the COVID restrictions and guidances that are given by the state. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderman Katz.
No report.
Alderman Nguyen.
No report, Your Honor.
Alderman Vajezi.
No report, Your Honor.
Alderman Whalen.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. We have some mayoral appointments. I assume he wants to go ahead and do this. Okay. The reappointment of Lynn Schultz to the Macomb Historic Preservation Commission. Can we do all these at one time, or do we, because they're not paid? Reappointment of Marshall Irwin and Steve Horrell to the Macomb Liquor Advisory Commission. Would Mayor seek your concurrence with this?
Make a motion to reappoint Lynn Stoltz to the Macomb Historic Preservation Commission and Marshall Irvin and Steve Hurl to the Macomb Liquor Advisory Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Lynn Schultz, Marshall Irwin, and Steve Horrell. Roll call.
You can do a voice vote.
Oh, thought you said roll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. And I know you're a little surprised by this, but we will be going into executive session.
Make a motion to go to executive session.
Okay, wait a minute.
Sorry.
For the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of an employee in the public body or legal counsel for the public body pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meeting Act. Now we need a motion.
Make a motion to go to executive session.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Cook, Katz,
Aye.
all ayes.
Give you the press a couple minutes if there's anyone you care to talk to, and then we'll go into. See you, Megan, Keith.
Thank you, guys.